I would now like to request Mr. Rajesh Kumar S to please come on stage and give his presentation on Smile, You've Been Profited, How Intrusion Deception is Shrinking Hacker Profits. Mr. Rajesh has more than 15 years of experience in networking. He started his networking career from Onward Nobel and then moved on with companies like HCL, Siemens, Nortel. Now he is working with Juniper Networks as a senior technical consultant. Rajesh has won many awards. One of them is for designing the One Network for Army. Mr. Rajesh.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good morning. So, taking further from Ravinder of the security. So today what's happening is there are two things which we see in the industry. That is, one is either you are hacked or you don't know whether you are hacked, right? That is what we hear always. So that is one of the key things which I wanted to present in terms of what we were talking earlier was all like there was a lot of security which we used to look at from the perimeter level or from the user level. Yeah, thank you. Or from the user level. But today it has changed. Actually today the security what we see is completely changed. Why? Because of the cloud, because of the virtualization, right? So there is a lot of things which have changed in security in terms of when we look at the physical level at the data center, what we used to see earlier, and now because of the virtualization, because of the cloud services coming in, and also because of the Web 2.0 and the SOA architecture coming in. So this is where the lot of applications and apps have been built. So when I say apps, it is more for mobile devices. When I say applications, it is more coming from the other part of the side, right? So apps and applications have started building. So there is Web 2.0 SOA architecture which is coming up. It is a distributed architecture, right? If you look at those kind of scenarios in terms of the way the traffic is handled, the way the traffic is moving, and the way the users are accessing these applications, the way the clouds are being formed. So there is a lot of things which we need to look at security from a different perspective altogether, right? So that is where I just wanted to say about it is how, as Ravinder was talking about, there is a village which is full of hackers and their job is to do hacking, and now it has become like a software project kind of a thing. In 6 months they need to bring out this much of database out of a customer. If you have heard about Sony, it was a major thing where they lost their reputation, but there is huge amount of money also which has been lost. There is a lot of card numbers which has gone to them, right? So if you look at those kind of things, it is very difficult how to protect them. So moving further, so what I want to do is, when we have looked at intrusion, intrusion prevention, intrusion detection, these things we have seen, these things we have worked, these things we have known from last 5 to 10 years. But if you see this, right, and what is it? It's a war tank, right? But it's actually it is a fake war tank. Okay, so this is the deception. What we are talking in security today is the deception. It is just not prevention or protection against intrusions. It is deceiving the hacker as if showing it's a real world, right? That is where the difference comes in today's in security when we talk about applications, when we talk about web applications, when we talk about actually the web servers and the database servers to be protected, right? So I'll put one of this. What is this? Yes, right? It's a snake, but it's a butterfly, right? So this is what I want to talk about, the technology or the security, what we are bringing in terms of deceiving the hackers as if providing them it is the right web application or the web server they are going to hack, but on the background they are not actually hacking the real web server or the web application. He has been deceived. So this is the one technology which I wanted to just come and explain here, right? So this is the video what you saw was, this is the one which is known as Junos Web App Secure. So what it does is, actually, when you look at these 5 attack phases, right, what happens is when a hacker wants to attack something, first he profiles, right? he finds out what are the applications, what are the devices, what are those there in the network. First, he profiles everything. Second, he targets the vulnerability, right? He targets and he finds, right, that this is where the vulnerability is there, this is where I can attack, right? He plans it out. And third, he launches an attack. And in the fourth, he launches more attacks and tries to take out more information from that particular website, right? So he becomes repetitive. And in the fifth, he doesn't allow you to do any patches or remediation so that you are going to stop him from being using that vulnerability. Because he has got in now, he has got all the power to stop those patches and all that getting into that service. So this is how the attacks are launched. But if you see the web application firewalls, they can only do is after attack has been taken place, because they can only seize the IP address. But in our JWAS, that is a web application security, we can start from the phase 1. That is the key when you want to protect your web application servers. It is not protecting after being attacked. It is taking a precautionary measure before he is being attacked. That means if someone is profiling my network, if someone is trying to profile my devices, someone is trying to profile my applications, I should know that there is some issue with this guy and I need to track him. I need to profile him. I need to track him. That is what is necessary when you want to actually safeguard your web application service, right? So what happens is, this is what we do. What we do is, first we create tar traps. What is meant by tar traps? Tar traps means I try to trap these hackers in coming to me. That is known as tar traps. For example, I sent something to him which is not usually seen on the web page, right? Which is actually not seen on the web page. Only those guys will be able to identify that. What they will do, once they identify that, they click that. Once they click that, I pull him to me. I will trap him. Once I trap him, I start profiling him. Profiling in the sense, not only an IP address, profiling on the OS what he is going to use, profiling him on what are the tools he is going to use, profiling him on what he wants to attack in my network. Everything. The scripts what he wants to use, the tools what he wants to use, the operating system what he wants to use, what is it he wants from my network, what is he trying to get from my network. Everything I'm going to profile. And then I created database. After that, we created database. After creating a database, then it is left to you to take an action. There are different ways it does. I can keep actually sending him so many information and delay him so that he gets frustrated and gets out of the network. Because hackers never sit for a long time. They have their tools, and these hackers always have particular tools, and certain hackers always does only those kind of attacks with only those kind of tools. If they can't get it in 15-20 minutes, they will get out of the network. That's their clear agenda. So what it does is, it keeps delaying him. If he asks something, it will send something to him. So he feels it's real web server which is sending me all these details. Again, he will do something. Again, I'll send something back to him. Right? I keep delaying and frustrating that hacker. So these are the things which we do. So this is something unique in the industry today. Right? This is what is tar traps. So if you see, we can do at different levels. One is when you do the web page, HTTP, whatever, you get a query string. In the query string, we can add something and send it, for example, like debug is equal to false. The hacker will see that, and he sees this is vulnerable, now I'll click this. He will click it and I'll tar trap him immediately. Now he's into me. Now I can completely profile him because he has come into me. Now I'll send a cookie back to him, and then I'll find out what is the browser he is using, what is the OS he is using, what he wants to do in my network, what he wants to pull out of my network, everything I can do it. Or else I can send the code. For example, code 0, like they use that Firebug in the Firefox, and they try to manipulate the code, these hackers. Once he tries to manipulate the code, I'll tar trap him. and again I am profiling. So if you see, I am profiling different kind of hackers who wants to hack at different levels, right? Someone may be trying to do using the query string, using a script he wants to hack. Someone wants to manipulate the code value in the web string and try to hack, or someone may be using a HT access, that is a file which should be hidden, right? So once he does it, I send an encrypted password to him, as if I have by mistake I have sent it, so now you are authorized user, so I am giving you a password, you put the password. He has a tool to decrypt. He finds, yes, I am actually getting into the right web server because it's asking me a password and I am decrypting it, now I am into the web server. So he starts trying to hack and hack, right? So these are the things which actually we do in a tar trap kind of a scenario. And if you see, this JBoss sits in front of the application servers there, and it doesn't do anything. It just, whenever the traffic goes out of the web application, whenever asks for a web page, it puts this kind of points into the web page and sends it out. Only those hackers will be able to see these kind of changes which has happened, and they click on that. Once they click on that, they are trapped. That is how we protect the web application servers from phase 1. It is not at phase 3. We protect from phase 1 to phase 5. Right. So this is some comparison. I don't have to go through because web application servers only protects at IP, but we can protect at IP. We can protect at the tools what they use. We can protect by using the scripts what they use. So there are different kinds of profiles what we do, and we can protect your web application servers depending upon those kind of. For example, he comes with a Firebug as a Firefox browser, then I know he's trying to do some code manipulation and I can stop him. If he's using some scripts, I know in the query string, I can stop him. So it is just not IP. We can look at different other parameters to stop the hackers, right? So installation options, in a physical appliance where you want to put the JBoss, in the virtual systems where you want to put it, and in the cloud where you want to put it. So every time it will be in front of the web servers. That's the key, right? So that is about Junos Web App Secure, which is also earlier known as Mykonos, right? So if you have seen in our web sites, so that is known as Mykonos earlier. Now we call it as Junos Web App Secure, where we secure the web applications. Another is Junos Spotlight Secure. So what we did was, once we started profiling, once we started creating the database, what we thought is that why don't we build this database across the globe and put it in a cloud of all the hackers' database. So what we did is, we collected those database of the hackers completely, profiling them, and then we put those databases in a cloud. Now what it means to you, right? It means to you is, whenever there is any kind of this kind of synonym or symptoms happens in your network, immediately you can refer that to the cloud. And if it matches, then you can easily put the policy to stop that activity. Because already there is a database, already it has been profiled. So I can say that, okay, this is the hacker who is trying to come or who is trying to pull out something with this kind of information, and I can put the policy straight away, right? So detect anywhere, stop everywhere. That means once I detect it, I can put this policy across the network and stop everywhere. Because these guys are very smart, right? They try at multiple locations. If it is not here, then they try at another location and try to come in through that. So this is what is known as a spotlight secure. So what happens is that all the databases are in one central cloud of the hackers, and whenever you find that this is one which is actually when you do the tracking and the profiling, you may feel that, okay, this may be a hacker, let's check it out in the cloud whether this matches. Once you check with the cloud, and if it matches, then you can put the policy straight away. It's as simple as that. So as you do a subscription for antivirus, IPS, so this is also one kind of subscription kind of a thing what you can look at. Right? So this is what it is. So what we do is global attacker intelligence, complete database is stored in the cloud, and we do real-time sharing, and also you can just match and say that yes or no. It will send you just yes or no, after that you can put the policy. It is that simple, right? And this, as Ravinder talked about, we collect 200 plus attributes. It is not just IP address, it is not just port, or it is not just browser. we collect 200 plus attributes of the hacker profile. So this is what it is. So fonts, time zone, browser, IP address, version what he's using. Now my colleague Deepak is going to demo this solution, and he will show you the version, he will show you the browser version what the hacker is using, all those capabilities. So it is typical what we are seeing here. Okay, this is what we use for fingerprinting and collecting the database of the hacker. So one of the things what we have done with our security products is that we have done an integration with the Spotlight, right? That means to say, whenever you have a security device and there is something, this kind of thing happen, then I can query to the cloud and get this attacker database and then put a policy across my devices. So this is done using SRX and Spotlight integration. That is what we see, JVAS device level blocking on SRX via Spotlight, and also you can have JVAS on premises as well. If you don't have it, then you can just, why the SRX has to do the complete, the CPU cycles to be used. So it will just send it to the cloud, it will say that whether this matches it or not. If it matches it, then I put the policy straight up, right? It is as simple as that, right? So next, I just wanted to talk about securing the cloud. When I talk about securing the cloud, what does it mean today? That means that I want to secure the virtualized network. There is a lot of difference. When we talk about security for virtualization, there is a lot of things which you need to look at, right? Just for example, this is what I talk about virtualization. There are multiple VMs, there are ESX hosts, there is virtualized storage, everything is virtualized in the data center, right? So now there may be a hybrid, there may be a private, there may be a public, doesn't matter, but everything is virtualized, right? So now what happens is, for example, if this is a virtualized data center, then if you see a VM with a firewall, it works fine with that particular shadow what I have shown there. But if the VM moves out of that shadow, then the policy changes and the security of the VM crashes, right? Because it doesn't have the policy there, so the VM doesn't have the security. So what happens is, this is where the problem comes when we look at the virtualized world, when we look at the virtualization in the data center. So the security required is much more than what we look at the normal data centers, where we used to have servers, where we used to have one big firewall at the perimeter, IPS, and then second the MZ zone, one set of firewalls, and then we used to define the policy. Today it is not possible. Today you can't have one big firewall and say that I define all the policies for the virtualization of my data center. It can never happen. Have you thought of one traffic flow which happens between VM to VM? Is there any security? You put the security only when the traffic flows from one ESX host to another ESX host. But have you are able to look at the traffic which moves from one VM to another VM within the same ESX host? Maybe different applications. You may have hosted different applications on different VMs. So this is a blind spot in virtualization, right? And also when you have so many servers, so many VMs, having one big firewall and defining policies to everyone, is it possible? Because when you are doing a hosting services, some will say that I want these kind of policies. Another customer will say I want this kind of policies. So how do you define that? Are you going to define thousands of lines onto the firewall today? And today VM motion, I move the VM from here to another location, or it may be to another ESX host. That means I change my policy on the firewall, right? So these are the things which we need to look at when we talk about virtualization, right? The two security for virtualization. So I'll not take much of time. So this is what we have as a solution, which is known as virtual gateway. This virtual gateway is a software entity which sits on the hypervisor. And what it does is, it looks at the flow of every VM to VM. Okay, this is something unique. So you don't have to protect the network only when it moves from ESX to ESX, but you can also have a view of the traffic which is going from one VM to another VM. It sits on the hypervisor. This is known as virtual gateway. And this is Junos Wi-Fi is again a VM based firewall or a UTM kind of an application where you can host on one of the VMs. For example, customer A, he needs a firewall, IPS, that's it, and with a good reporting. Host this on your VM and apply those policies. Customer B, host one more VSRX on a VM with his policies defined. How does it look? Now I don't need a big firewall and have some 10,000 lines of policies being defined. Now I can virtualize my security depending upon the customers whom I am going to host, or the applications which I am going to host for my users, and what kind of security is required for that particular application. Right? So I can have different security zones. This is something unique, again, which we have come up. So this is good because service providers are looking very keen in looking into this solution, because this gives you enormous scalability plus flexibility and also ease of implementation and defining the policies. Anything happens to that VSRX, it doesn't crash down your data center. But what happens if a big firewall crashes or I define a wrong policy? The whole data center goes for a toss, right? That is where it helps you a lot in terms of actually segmenting your virtualized network and then defining security policies to that virtualized network. Right? So this is what it does in terms of VGW. It has all the capabilities like a firewall, IPS, IDS, antivirus, introspection, and then it gives you the reports completely. And it just sits on the hypervisor. No VM firewall sits in the hypervisor. Okay. So this is the Firefly. So this is what it is. If you had looked at our big SRX like 5600, 1400, 5800, we had something known as logical systems. We used to create logical systems and say this logical system is for this customer, this logical system is for this customer. Now what we have done is we have pulled that out as a software entity, as a virtualized entity, and then you can host it on the VM and define the same policies, and you can scale as many you want tomorrow depending upon the policies you want, depending upon the performance you want to drive, depending upon the number of segments you want to protect. So this is so easy. So it gives you complete firewall, routing, NAT, VPN, ALGs, because routing is also there, because I'm not getting into that VXLAN, VXGRE, correct? MPLS or GRE. So those capabilities are also coming into your virtualized data centers, right? So there you need routing, there you need NATing, right? So those kind of capabilities are also already put into this Firefly to take care of that VXLAN and all those capabilities. So why Juniper? That's what I was saying, because we have end-to-end security solution which addresses you from the physical world to the virtual world to the web app world, right? And also creating databases for you to make it easy so that you can actually compare those kind of attacks which are happening and put the policies which is already available. That means what? On the back of my mind, I thought you would have got it. That means what? That means 0-day protection you can provide to your network immediately, right? Because you already have those databases in the spotlight. So I can pull those and put those policies immediately if I feel that there is some threat going to happen. So 0-day attack protection, APT protection, because the hackers come and sit for 6 months. Today if they come, they are actually sitting on a fake thing and trying to pull out something which is not at all available for them, right? So these kind of things which can be protected by using Junos Web App Secure, or virtualization using VGW, or segmenting your virtualization and providing security using Firefly. So these are the things which we say comprehensively we have built in terms of providing a complete end-to-end security solution for the data centers. I did talk about SIEM because we have a good SIEM which gives you the complete reporting, behavioral analysis, threat management capabilities, all those using the complete reporting tool. So next steps, if you want to, we can come and do the demo in your premises, And once we put, what we have seen is once we put this Junos Web App Secure, you will see, without knowing that at least 20 to 30% every customer, not to say, has certain things which have been already there, the hackers who are trying to hack, right? So in a day's time, we will come to know about it. So if you give us an opportunity, we can come and demonstrate this, any product what we talked about, any solution what we talked about. So from my side, thank you. So I'll call Deepak to do the demo on the Junos Web App Secure, and you will understand more how it will be useful for your environments. Thank you. Thank you, Deepak.
So good morning everyone. My name is Deepak Agrawal. I'm part of the pre-sales team, and today we'll be doing a small demo on what we have talked up till now from the morning. So as you can see, this website, Generic Electronics, this is the website which we are going to hack today. And as you can see, it's an e-commerce website wherein there are different products. I can select few of the products, I can add them to the cart, I can proceed to the cart, I can do a checkout of the cart, I can do a login. So a typical e-commerce website. Providing security to this website is the JWAS appliance over here. So this is the dashboard. As you can see, at the very broad level, we can see the detected attacks, attackers, most frequent attacks, top attackers, malicious incidents, and even geo IP location, wherein we get to know the top countries from where we are getting those attacks. So let me start by showing you a few of the details which are on my laptop. First, I'll start off with the current public IP address on my laptop. So as you can see, it is 182.168.253.6. I'm using a Firefox browser. Let's see what's the version it is running on. It's version 24.0. I'm running a Windows machine. It's a Windows 7 machine, as you can see. Let's see what JWAS has to say about me for this as I'm trying to access the website. So in the JWAS, I'll go under the sessions section of it. I think wireless is taking some time. Okay, it's refreshing now. So as you can see, we have malicious sessions, we have other sessions. And if you see, this is my IP address, 182.168.253.6, right? I'm coming from a Firefox 24.0, it's a Windows 7, and it gives me some activities when I was first active, when I was last active, and some more information like this. Currently, I'm a normal benign user. I'm not a malicious user. I'm not a hacker yet. Right?
Yeah, how come your location is showing Bangalore? Whose wireless are you using?
It's the hotel's location is showing Bangalore. Let me just check.
Go back to the IP.
It should be Delhi.
Go back to the IP. Go back to the IP details.
Okay, this.
Yeah.
So I think this is the infrastructure of Taj. I can't comment on that. Maybe they have a.
Whose infrastructure is
This is the Taj Hotel's infrastructure I'm using here. I don't know if they have a common gateway firewall which is exiting out in Bangalore. I can't comment on that. It could be. If you want, we can check with the Taj authorities IT section and we can get back to you exact details why it is showing Bangalore here.
Okay.
but this is just the IP to city resolution which is done by Aaron. I think it is transparent. Wherever the IP block is assigned, we'll see that city or state. Okay, so going back. So as I was saying, I'm still a benign user on this website. So let's now start with attack. Now one of the things what we can do is, I can play with the URL. I don't know if you ever tried this, but the moment we visit a website, we would go to, for example, google.com, or in my case, I go to generikelectronics.co.uk. But after that, the URL changes, it expands, and it becomes quite huge. As normal users, we never look at the URL. Or sometimes if we are in a playful mood, sometimes we do, but we really don't really bother what's there in the URL. But URL, or the URI, how we call it, contains a great deal of information. Now one of the things which a hacker might do is start by just playing with the URL. This is like the reconnaissance step, or the very first step in the series of, or the phases of an attack. So what I'm going to do here is, I don't know what this n4 is equal to true is doing, but maybe if I change this value, maybe to something else, maybe the website might throw up an error. And if it throws up an error and I'm able to launch a bot attack on it, I might bring down the service. That's what the intent of a hacker is, right? To either bring down the service, or to get into the system, steal the information and disappear, right? So let's change it to something. Maybe we change it to false. If false sounds really obvious to you, we can change it to anything else. Maybe the word debug or anything. So let me change it to false. Hit enter. Well, nothing frankly has happened. I'm still able to browse the website. But you see what? We got a security warning from the website. Your connection has been detected performing suspicious activity. Your traffic is now being monitored. And if we look at the JVAS, let me refresh this. Still refreshing. See, my IP has now been moved under malicious sessions, and I have been assigned a name by this ash4235. That's a name which has been assigned to me. Okay, so this is doing something. So let's continue to hack on this website. And one of the things which most of the time hackers do is, rather than hacking manually, they would use tools and scripts to do the hacking. Why should I, as a hacker, waste my time on testing each and every parameter when I can have a script instead do it automatically for me? So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to launch a program, a Firefox add-on, we call it Firebug, and I would paste a script into it. So this is a Visual Basic script, as you can see, and it is a SQL injection script that we have created. So I'll run it on the website. Now as you can see, few of the parameters are going through, right? So my script is successful. I am able to hack the website. I am able to do SQL injections onto the website, right? But what's this? All of a sudden, it's up till here it was saying no vulnerability found, but now all of a sudden it started saying unexpected response from the site. Now this looks like my script is broken. I'll have to resolve this error manually to continue hacking the website. So what I would now do as a hacker is, I would go onto the website to see what actually is broken. And you know what? A CAPTCHA has come up. Now because this CAPTCHA has come up, it has broken my script, and I no longer can use a script to hack or attack this website. So I'll have to resolve this manually, which I'm doing now. Let me hit continue. Okay, so I'm back on the website. I can continue to, sorry. Oh, okay. I can continue to hack the website again. Now let's do some more hacking. And this time what we would do is we would use the form fields. Form fields are very, very interesting if you look from a hacker's point of view. There are lots of variables to play with, and many a times what happens, developers while coding the web page, sometimes they leave few hidden parameters which can be exploited. So we can launch an attack against such hidden parameters. So let's do that. So I'll launch the Firebug again. And as you can see, over here I'm seeing the code, but I also see input type is equal to hidden, value something in name is equal to SQL index. As a hacker, I currently do not know what it is, but if I'm able to make it do something, make the page behave something different from what it should not, my job as a hacker is done. So I'm really not sure, but just by looking at the name, maybe it is something to do with the database connectivity, SQL index, that's what it looks like. Maybe I'll put some random value here for a port. So from value is equal to 4, maybe I'll increment it to a bigger, higher value. So maybe 4200 for example. And I'll put in some email address, so test@demo.com. Let me continue. Doesn't look like it's doing something, but let me go with the flow of it. So test 123 is the password I've kept. Test 123 and last name is demo. Let me hit continue. Nothing really happened. I'm still able to browse the website, but if you see, now the response from the website is slightly slow. I'm not sure if you're able to see it with the naked eye, but from earlier and now, the slight response is slow. One of the things is this is a 10 meg pipe which we've got. So because of the high bandwidth, and this is just one website we are using, it might not be very evident, but there is slight sluggishness if you see from the way the website was responding earlier and now. So frankly, nothing much looks like has happened. So it looks like that, okay, the website is still behaving, so let's hack again. And this time what we are going to do is, instead of going for the obvious, let's access something which is hidden on the server. So htaccess file, it's a Apache configuration file, which is most of the times hidden on these web servers, but many times it is exposed. So let's try and access this website and let's see what we get. So one of the things what I get to see first of all over here is, it is linked to a resource by the name backup.sql. Now this is good for me. So what I'm trying to see here is htaccess first of all is exposed, and it is linked to a resource by the name backup.sql. And also, if I'm able to access htaccess, let me see if I can access htpassword file as well. htpassword would have passwords of the users who are authorized to log on to it. Oh, you know what? I can access htpassword file as well. So if I spend some 8 to 10 hours breaking this encrypted password and then try and access that protected resource, maybe I'll be able to hack into the website. Now, just to tell you, all this information what we have seen for the htaccess, htpassword is all fake, which is generated by Mykonos. It's not there actually on the web server, but it is only thrown by Juniper Web App Secure to the hacker and to the hacker only. So one of the user name, as you can see here, is Jay Weaver, and I have his password. His password is money. So let me go to this authenticated resource, backup.sql. Okay, yes. So Okay, so it's doing something now. Again, the response from the website was slightly slow, and now all of a sudden get not found. It looks like the end of the road. I have gone as far as I could on this protected resource, but now I can obviously always get back onto the website and hack the website again. So let's do that. So let's get back to the website and let's hack it again. So we are going back to generic electronics. But now what? Now I am being detected as a hacker and my connection is thwarted. I am now completely blocked off the website. I cannot hack into the website using this device now. I can close this browser, still the response would remain the same. Now let's also look at the JVAS and see what has happened over there. So let's go to attackers, and this is what I am, if you remember. So let's click on this attacker, and if we look, what has happened is under incidents, I started off with query manipulation wherein I played around with the URL thing. So it was a URL manipulation, it was a low incident. Let's click on this incident to see more details. So the expected value for the parameter M4 was true, but we provided false. Remember? If you look at request, this was the HTTP GET request which got generated from my client, and this was the actual response from the server. So it is recording everything. So if we go back, so this was the URL manipulation. Now these 8 are a result of the SQL injection script which I ran. Then we requested access to a hidden configuration file which was htaccess. Then we requested ht password file. We requested access to a protected resource which was backup.sql. And finally, the most critical, the password was cracked. If you see, based on the complexity or the skill level, now this is high, and if we look at this attacker, the threat level which has been assigned to this hacker is high, because the skill level of this hacker was good. He was not only able to get access to protected resources or the hidden files, but he was also able to break the password, which shows that yes, the hacker is really good at what he's doing. So I don't know if you remember, the name for the hacker which I showed you earlier was different from what it is showing now. Anyone notice that?
Yes.
So I was expecting a question, well, how did the name change? The name changed because, remember when Ravinder and Rajesh were speaking, they talked about Spotlight. It's a global hacker database. So what we have done is, we have collated the information of this hacker, wherein the local name is Betty, as you can see, and the global hacker name is Rosewood. If I go to Spotlight and I log in, and if I search for Rosewood, so see, this information is already out here. Now as we have been blocked from the original website which we started to hack, let's try and hack another website, something which we have not touched so far, but because we are a hacker, hacking just one website is against our reputation. So we'll go to another website. Okay, so this website has come up. So currently we are not just hacking it, let's just browse it a bit, let's see what type of website it is. So from the looks of it, it looks like it's a normal blogging website. It has various different blogs. We can click on the blogs. We can get the web pages. So far so good, right? Let's go back and also look at, when we were talking about incidents, the responses which were thrown from the JWAS or the Junos Web App Secure to this hacker Rosewood. Remember, the very first thing which had happened to us, we received a security warning. So it was the warned user. Then when we ran the script, a force capture had happened, and after that a new page had opened up, which I closed. Unfortunately, at that time a copy was thrown to us. There was connection slowdowns, if you remember. Also, when we tried to break in the password, the connection had slowed down. The response from the website was slightly shaky. That's what it looked to me. And finally, as a hacker, I was blocked. So these are the different responses which the JWAS sent to me as a hacker. Now, if you look at my generic blog website, so there is a JWAS appliance again protecting this. And if you look at attackers, you see Rosewood. Magically the Rosewood has appeared here. We have not hacked the website yet. Remember, we had only browsed the website, but magically Rosewood as a hacker is now identified on this JWAS, which is protecting this my generic blog website. And if I go back to the website, maybe click somewhere, wow, what a warning. Welcome friend, you have been attacking multiple sites today. This is not the website you are looking for, move along. So it is just a sample thing which we have configured for the demo. What we could have done instead was we could have even blocked the hacker here as well. Because if you remember, the responses what we throw to the hacker are under our configurable limits. So this is possible because from the global database, which is Spotlight, when both the fingerprints were matched of the hacker was globally identified as Rosewood. Locally here on this JWAS, the hacker is identified as Anthony. Here the hacker is a different name, but more than the name, what we are saying is, irrespective where the hacker is hacking, once he is profiled, we can reuse that fingerprint over and over again. That concludes the demo for today. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. If no more questions, thank you very much.
Thank you, Rajesh, for the presentation, and thank you, Deepak, for the demo. We'll now take a short tea break, and I would request all of you to please reassemble in 20 minutes.